Hi everyone, this is Aero J. I also go by Omole, and welcome to my very first stitch along. So essentially, I am gonna be talking as I'm stitching my next project, and you can watch me. So let's get straight into it. So a creative idea I thought I would have is to just talk about myself while stitching. It's a stitch along. So I literally stitch as I speak. Um, So I am Omale, and since this is like a self-portrait stitch thing video, then I thought that I would just introduce myself a little bit more than I did in the last video. So my name is Omale. I um I'm based in the UK, and I am prepping this piece for an exhibition actually, which is happening in my hometown. And I will do another video on that very soon. So a little bit more about me, my work experience, how I sort of became an artist. So I have so much work experience in different areas. It's crazy. I've literally been all over the place. So I've worked in bars, for example. I used to work at one thing that's more relevant, I guess, is that I used to work at DFS, which is a furniture chain, a quite famous furniture chain in the UK. I used to work there as a seamstress, actually, so I'd be on the big industrial sewing machines, sewing furniture fabrics together, like sewing the patterns together. I used to work for Doncaster Furniture Sales on the big industrial sewing machines, and oh my goodness, the amount of times, it does sound pretty cool on paper, but the amount of times I trapped my fingers in those sewing machines, because it's like it has like so sewing machines have like a foot, which is like the bit that clamps down the fabric as you sew, and because the foot had like a mechanism, so when you let go of the pedal, when you take your foot off the pedal, the sewing machine foot slams down onto the fabric, and if your fingers are in the way, it's all over. So what I'm doing here anyway is I am stitching. I'm using bat stitch to do my self-portrait, essentially. And I have bound, as you notice, there's fabric around the edge of the hoop. This is to keep the tension of the hoop as I sew. And it also looks quite pretty, but I'm not going to leave it in this hoop. I'm using a 12-inch hoop, and I'm actually going to frame this embroidery once I've finished. Another thing I have done is I have split the thread, so I am using 6-strand embroidery thread, and literally what I do is I you can use as many or as few strands as you want, and depending on how thick the lines are, that's how many strands of thread I use. I'm currently using 3 strands of thread to go over the outline of the eyes and the lips and my nose. And I will use 3 strands for the lines around my clothing. I've used 2 strands around my hair and 1 strand for the fine details around my hair. Those little dots, those are French knots. Yeah, with 1 strand of embroidery. I am really taking the pains to make this as perfect as possible, because people are going to see it, and that's like a really big deal. And I will make another video and talk to you about how the experience went. And I will also take you through the process of my inspiration, of where I got my inspiration from. So essentially, the theme of this exhibition is called Reconstruct, right? So what I've done is I have literally taken a selfie of myself, and I have stripped it down using photo editing software called InShot, which by the way is really awesome. I got the paid version because it's just there are so many different effects for photos and videos. I edit my videos on InShot, to be honest. I do it all from InShot and then upload to YouTube. But anyway, I stripped that selfie right down to its bare bones. So I kind of look a bit like a cartoon right now. And then I used carbon paper. What I did first is I printed off the edited image and laid it on top of and then I used carbon paper to transfer the image from the onto some cotton fabric. It's just called calico. I don't know why it's called calico, but it's cotton fabric anyways. And then I just started stitching on top of that. I will stitch this piece in black, white, and grey because I like simplicity. Like, I'm a very visual person, and I like how icons, for example, I like how icons kind of just look like line drawings. Like, they're very simple. They're literally just built up of lines, and they're very two-dimensional, but they can they can take on so much meaning. I'm really interested in that. So I like to be open about where I'm at the moment in terms of my career. I am working in sales and I'm doing art as a side thing right now. I have some very exciting stuff coming up in the works. Let me get onto that actually. So the reason sales is very different to art, and well, obviously, and I guess the reason I'm doing sales is because I actually took a business and marketing degree, had absolutely nothing to do with sewing or embroidery or art, and I between you and me, I was kind of forced to take the degree, but I ended up opening my own art business, so I suppose it came around. And I also got a first class, which is I don't know how the grading systems work in different countries, but it's like the highest grade the highest grade boundary you can get as a first class in the UK. And yeah, here I am now, working in sales, doing embroidery on the side. I have several streams of income from my embroidery. Like, I'm going to try and sell it. I've been timid. I've been tentative in selling because I just don't know how to sell my art, to be honest with you. I've never known how. I've tried multiple things, but I think the main problem was just not knowing who my audience was. I used to think it was older people, but now I'm like, actually, now that I think about it, it's probably young. I think it's probably going to be younger women like me, who just like to express themselves creatively, and if they're a little bit older, in like their 30s, they like have a little bit of money to spend on their art. And then if they're a little bit younger, in like 18s, they're like a student. They like to express themselves in how they organize themselves for work, which is why, exciting stuff coming up in the pipeline, I'm gonna start making like stationery based on my artwork. So be that stickers of just my really unique embroideries, be that like merchandise. It's gonna be a whole new thing. So you stay tuned. And that is me and where I am at for now. So this is just a quick run through of the finished product. Actually, I'm really proud of this. I think it looks amazing. So I'm actually going to frame this but first I'm using some card and just a little bit of just regular glue stick to make the material a little bit stronger. So I'm literally going to stick the card on the back of the embroidery, and then I'm gonna cut around the edges. This is just to make sure when I put it into the photo frame it stays put and it doesn't slip down. So I'm back again, and I'm going to show you the photo frame I'm going to use. I think it's quite impressive. It's like this silver looking frame, which is quite large and really elegant. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to cut around the edges of this piece. I guess the trick is just to try and leave like about 1/2 centimeter. I don't know what that is in inches, I'm sorry. About 1/2 centimeter of fabric, just as like a safety, net. I think in sewing terms they call it a, damn, I worked as a seamstress, I should know this. They call it seam allowance, right? So yeah, it's a 1/2 centimeter seam allowance. I'm not really doing a seam at all, but yeah. So this is what it looks like, and I am just going to go ahead and pop it into the frame now. Actually getting the embroidery in is a little bit tricky because I wish I could just completely take the back of the frame off. That would make it a lot easier for it to slot inside. Other than that, you know, it's going to take a couple tries, but we'll get there. We'll get there. There you go. I place the cardboard on top and seal and reveal. Thank you so much for watching my stitch along. I hope you really enjoyed it. All the links to my socials are in the description below, and I shall see you in the next video. Goodbye now.